Wow. Canelo Alvarez could flee to Dubai in a newly announced fight with Dmitry Bivol. Hear why in this video. You want to stick around. Canelo, this fight is under some pressure. We'll just leave it at that. Stick around. Wow, bad news for Canelo Alvarez. Now, he just announced that he was fighting Dmitry Bivol, and immediately, based on the actual fight and me knowing that Bivol's from Russia and what's going on in the world, I immediately thought that the conflict currently going on between Ukraine and Russia, the invasion, would create some hindrance. It looks like Ego Stradamus strikes again. Boom. ESPN Mexico, they have their latest information is suggesting that a fight with Canelo Alvarez in Dubai might be the ticket. Wow. Wow. Says the long-awaited fight for the WBA light heavyweight title could have a venue outside of the Americas. Canelo Alvarez, yada, yada, yada. When it happens, sources have revealed to ESPN Knockout that Dubai is a solid option. I mean, this is crazy. This is just bad for boxing. I told you Canelo's decision-making. Like, for starters, you picked a Russian fighter in the middle of Russia being viewed in the way they're being viewed based on the invasion, which has led to and culminated to other things. Guys like the legendary Ukrainian heavyweight Klitschko, this is what Dr. Steelhammer put. It says, no more Russia in international sports. So him being a Ukrainian and knowing what's going on with his country and his people, he's standing up for something. And he's saying the country of Russia, based on what they're doing, should not be allowed to participate. And I put this, I said, I told y'all the Canelo versus Bivol fight would reflect poorly or badly. Horrible timing that raises concerns due to the tragedy that exists in Ukraine. Now you have Klitschko and the sanctioning bodies pushing the ban of Russia in competitive and international sport because of this invasion. He put no more Russia, right? And more proof that I told you. I told you I'll give you the latest and the greatest. I'm the best when it comes to boxing in this digital space. There is none greater and there will be none greater. I keep telling you, I just keep getting it right, So subscribe to the channel. I said Canelo is also fighting a Russian fighter in the middle. This is when it got announced. This is what I'm talking about. I said he's fighting a Russian fighter in the middle of the Russia versus Ukraine conflict. So I'm pretty sure boxing is not the first thing on everybody's mind in those areas. The chaos and the turmoil in that region far outweighs a boxing fight. They are fighting for their lives. So why would they randomly just decide to fight in Dubai? To me, I think it's because of pressures against Russia based on the political climate and the invasion that's going on. Because as I've stated in my previous video and previous work, which you guys got to check out, is people aren't having it. There's liquor store owners and they're refusing to sell Russian products, Russian vodka, where vodka originates from, right? And they're refusing and pouring them out and, doing these demonstrations and things like that to let Russia know it will not be tolerated. This is who Canelo decided to pick. Now, reason why I'm blaming Canelo, of course, Canelo, it's not his fault that there's what's going on in Russia and Ukraine is going on. He can't control that. But he had plenty of options. And what we do know is the options that he could have fought, it would have been bigger for boxing, as I've always stated, and it would have been against American fighters where the fight could take place, and you wouldn't have to go to Dubai. It really wouldn't make sense to put Canelo versus Charlo in Dubai or Canelo versus Benavidez because those are homegrown fights. Canelo made a name for himself in America about time when he was 18, 19. And then the other fighters are American, and they've been fighting in American venues and stuff like that. So you wouldn't have to take this fight somewhere. So I really believe, based on the pressures and what's going on, like Klitschko and others saying ban Russia, they shouldn't be allowed to compete for what's going on. I think this is creating a situation where Canelo is forced to now take his fight and flee, possibly, and look out at other areas, outside of the U.S. And it's funny because a lot of the Canelo supporters that, you know, they celebrate his every move. A lot of the Canelo supporters, they said, oh, I'm packing my bags. I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm already booking my flight. I'm booking my, but what? You booked it for what? They're talking about he fighting in Dubai potentially. So they never officially released where the fight will take place. But again, if you put it in Vegas, you know, people might boycott the fight. People might not be willing to participate. And ironically enough, it's just so, it's the decision making with DAZN is so poor, is laughable. Like, and in addition, the DAZN, the spearhead of DAZN is also Russian, Len Blapnik, right? He's also Russian. So at such a devastating time for Ukraine, this is the time where, you know, DAZN decides, hey, out of all the times we could have integrated pay-per-view, instead of saying pay-per-view is dead, this is the time. I just don't know if that translates to positive looks and positive sales for this particular fight, because people are fighting for their life. Like I said, from the announcement of the fight before anybody, because I'm the greatest, you know, I just really don't think that now is the time that you're really going to profit, and it's just not going to be revered in a positive light. I truly believe that. So furthermore, to further my case, the board of directors with the WBA, keep in mind, Bivol is a WBA champion. They met to evaluate the issues with Russia. They will, listen, you guys got to pay attention. They will not sanction any championship match in Russia. That's a dub. Russian boxers will not be allowed to enter the ring, even with their flag. Their country will not be named, nor will their anthem be heard. So Canelo, again, this is who he decided to pick. He picked a fighter at the worst time. And again, Canelo, he's not the causation for what's happening in the world. However, you still have to take into consideration what's going on in the world. That's like if I go to New York and I'm trying to set up an operation like Chipotle or something, try to create a franchise in the middle of 9/11. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to understand what's going on in that specific region or place when you make decisions. So of course, Canelo can't control what's going on in the world, but all of these problems could have been avoided if he would have fought who I told you I think is the bigger and better fight for him to have fought right now, which is Charlo. And he did have a substantial offer to fight on PBC against Charlo, but he went his own way, and these are the complications that come with it, right? It says, instead of the nationality of the Russian boxers, the WBA rankings will read the word peace. So they're making statements in the middle. So this compromises the Canelo Bivol fight immensely, right? So and we don't know what's gonna happen next. We don't know what the next step is, but we know people like Vasily Lomachenko, that's his country. He's from the Ukraine. Guys like the Klitschko brothers, Vladimir and Vitaly, they're fighting for their country. The president of Ukraine, they're fighting for their country. And Canelo's trying to make an event and introducing a new price point because they have to try to pay him, and introducing pay-per-view against a Russian fighter, and he can't even walk out with his flags. He can't walk it. So Canelo can come out festive and have like this picture, have the Mexican flag behind him and, you know, come decked out, but it's going to be much more mooted, at least during this current climate with Ukraine and Russia. And they're not allowing that because they're making a statement and they're saying they're trying to increase the peace and push for a peaceful resolve or whatnot. You know what I mean? So this is the decisions that Canelo, I told you, is bogus. And now you guys see it. Now you guys see it. Where are you going to market this fight? Now, and see, that's the other thing. Canelo, he made his name not really even in Mexico. He wasn't a star like he is now. He wasn't getting 100 million. He made that in America, right? So you made it in America. Now you're talking about fleeing to go to Dubai. That just makes it much harder for your own fans to come see you. Like Canelo, let's say he has fans in Vegas, California, Texas, New York, whatever, right? Do fans have it in them in a pandemic to fly out to Dubai to go see you fight against a Russian Bivol, again, with everything that's going on? You know what I mean? Is this a mega fight? Is this what boxing needs? All of these problems could have been avoided, and you know, it just happened on Canelo's decision, what he decides. So I just feel like strongly you got to look at the landscape. You got to look at what's going on in the world. Like, hey, is it the right time to bring a boxing event to so and so, you know, or to fight this fighter or fight, and you know, it's the luck of the draw. But I predicted this. I seen this coming a mile away, and now you guys are seeing that I was right. So we'll see how it all plays out. But don't be surprised if this fight gets more and more, like, depending on what happens in the world, just keep your eyes peeled. That's all I'm gonna say. Keep your eyes peeled, because depending on how extreme this gets, that's gonna influence this fight more and more and more. Again, the front man for the money is Russian with DAZN. Look it up, Len Blevnik, right? And you're fighting a Russian fighter at a time where it's very tense, very, very tense. So just keep your eye on this situation. I'll keep you guys posted, let you know what's going on. But they've already started to do things that really are going to take away from the actual event. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. I understand it. I understand what's going on. I understand why they would do that. But this is why I firmly believe that going to Dubai, this is why you have to look towards different places like that, because it's going to become harder and harder to sell in America. So it says, with the exception of Bivol and Butayev and some regional champions with commitments outside of Russia, the WBA will not include Russian fighters in their next ranking. See, oh my gosh, they're not even going to include Russian fighters in their rankings. So Russian and Belarusian fighters won't even be included when they come out with their next. So presumably, let's say April 22, they come out with the new rankings, and they're not going to include fighters out of that country. Nor will Russian ring officials be called in fights endorsing by the body. So it's getting real serious, y'all. I tried to tell y'all. Y'all said I was lying, but the boy Ego Stradamus strikes again. Subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest. I'm the best doing it. Y'all know that. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And I'm out. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.